Have you ever found yourself judging someone, only to feel an uncomfortable sting deep inside? What if I told you that judgment isn't about them? It's really about you? In today's video, we're diving into the surprising truth about how judging others negatively is often a reflection of how we judge ourselves. We'll uncover why accepting yourself is the first step to living a judgment-free life, and how you can shift from criticism to compassion. So, why do we judge others? What if I told you that when you judge someone else, you're really just holding up a mirror to your own insecurities? When you criticize others, you're not actually criticizing them. You're projecting what you don't like about yourself onto them. Harsh, right? But stay with me, because this revelation is the first step toward personal freedom. Think about the last time you judged someone for their appearance, actions, or beliefs. What was it about them that triggered you? Often the things we find frustrating or irritating in others are a reflection of something we dislike or fear within ourselves. When we judge, it's usually not about the other person at all. It's about us, our self-perception, and our own unresolved insecurities. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're at the gym, and instead of focusing on your workout, you start judging the person next to you for their form, their fitness level, or even the clothes they're wearing. This kind of judgment isn't just limited to superficial things like appearances. It goes way deeper. Whether it's someone's success, confidence, or even their lifestyle, judgments arise when we feel disconnected or dissatisfied with some part of ourselves. When you're happy and at peace with who you are, those judgments start to fade away. It's like magic, but it's really just you coming to terms with your own self-image. Now that we've uncovered how judgment of others is often a projection of our own insecurities, let's talk about the solution: self-acceptance. You see, the more comfortable we become with ourselves, the less we feel the need to judge others. It's almost like flipping a switch. When you start to reflect on your own thoughts and feelings, you begin to see where those judgments are really coming from. Spoiler alert, it's usually not about them, it's about you. Self-reflection is a powerful tool. When you catch yourself judging someone, pause and ask, what is this really about? Is it their behavior that's bothering you, or is it reminding you of something within yourself that you haven't fully accepted? Once you recognize this, you can start to shift from judgment to understanding, both of yourself and others. Here's a helpful mindset shift. The next time you feel triggered by someone else's behavior, try viewing them with compassion. According to Bashar, those who judge others harshly are often struggling with their own internal pain. They're projecting that pain outward because it's too difficult to face it within themselves. So, when you catch yourself judging, instead of reacting with frustration, try to extend compassion, not just to them, but to yourself as well. After all, we're all on this journey of self-discovery and growth together. So how do we cultivate self-acceptance and, in turn, reduce judgment? It's all about small, daily practices. Start by simply noticing when you're judging others, and ask yourself, what is this really reflecting in me? This awareness is the first step to breaking the cycle. You can also practice gratitude. Focusing on the good in yourself and others helps shift your mindset from criticism to appreciation. Another powerful technique is the pattern interrupt. When you catch yourself in a negative thought about someone, stop and flip the script. Think of one positive thing about that person, even if it's small. Not only does this help reduce judgment, but it also reminds you that just like you, they are human and deserving of compassion. By working on accepting your own flaws and imperfections, you'll notice that your need to judge others starts to fade. And the best part? As you become more comfortable with yourself, you'll find that you can extend that same kindness and understanding to those around you. I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you like this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Imagine what we could accomplish for the chosen ones in providing this much-needed experience for those in search of this light information. If everyone subscribed, it costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference. With just a click, you are the magic. Great. Thank you so much. It's a win-win. When we let go of judgment, something incredible happens. we begin to feel more connected to others. You've probably heard the phrase live and let live, but when you really embrace it, you'll find a sense of freedom and peace that wasn't there before. By releasing the need to judge others, you open up space for deeper empathy, understanding, and connection. Instead of seeing someone as different or flawed, you start to see them as another person, just like you, doing the best they can with what they have. Without the barrier of judgment, it's easier to form authentic relationships. You become more approachable, and people are drawn to your non-judgmental attitude. When people feel seen and accepted without criticism, they're more likely to open up, trust, and connect. This is how non-judgment fosters stronger relationships, both in your personal life and beyond. Living without judgment isn't just about improving your relationships with others. It's transformative for your relationship with yourself. As you practice non-judgment, you'll start to notice how much lighter you feel. No more mental energy wasted on criticizing others or yourself. Instead, you're focusing on acceptance, both inwardly and outwardly. It's a mindset shift that changes everything. This doesn't mean you'll suddenly stop noticing things about people or situations, but instead of reacting with judgment, you'll approach things with curiosity and understanding. Imagine walking into a room and instead of thinking, "Why is that person wearing that?" you think, "I wonder what their story is." It's not just about being nicer, it's about allowing yourself to see the world through a broader, more compassionate lens. And the best part? When you're no longer weighed down by the burden of judgment, you create more room for joy. You'll find that by accepting others and yourself as you are, life becomes more enjoyable, more vibrant. So, what does life look like when you're no longer caught up in constant judgment? It's more peaceful. You'll feel more at ease with yourself and the world around you. Judgment is draining. It takes energy to constantly critique others and yourself. But when you replace judgment with acceptance, you'll feel more energized, more open, and more content. Living a judgment-free life doesn't mean you'll never have opinions or preferences. It just means you're not attaching negative emotions to those opinions. Mindfulness is like a superpower when it comes to reducing judgment. It's all about staying present and aware of what's going on in your mind right now. When you're mindful, you're not operating on autopilot. You can catch those judgmental thoughts as they start to form before they spiral into a full-blown mental rant about someone else's behavior, appearance, or choices. This practice gives you a moment to pause and reflect before reacting, allowing you to respond with understanding rather than slipping into instant criticism. The beauty of mindfulness is that it brings us into the present moment, where judgment often loses its grip. When you're truly focused on the here and now, your mind doesn't have room to dwell on negative comparisons or criticisms. It becomes easier to just be with yourself and with others without needing to pass judgment. Most of the time, judgment is automatic. We see something or someone, we react, and bam, judgment kicks in before we even realize it. But mindfulness helps break that cycle. By being more aware of your thoughts and feelings in the moment, you can catch yourself before the judgment becomes fully formed. Instead of allowing that knee-jerk reaction to take over, mindfulness gives you a second to reflect. Why did this particular person or situation trigger you? What is it about you that feels threatened or uncomfortable? This process allows you to step back and recognize your own patterns of thought. Maybe there's a specific behavior that irritates you, or perhaps you tend to judge people based on certain traits. Mindfulness helps you get curious instead of reactive. Instead of immediately labeling someone, you can ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Is this reaction really about them, or is it more about something going on inside me? It's like holding up a mirror to your inner world and discovering that much of your judgment is simply a reflection of unresolved feelings about yourself. So, how do you actually use mindfulness to stop judgment in its tracks? The first and most accessible method is mindful breathing. The next time you catch yourself judging someone, whether it's a passing thought or a deeper criticism, stop. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and exhale slowly. As you do, mentally reset. This simple act not only calms your nervous system, but also gives you that much-needed space to reflect. Why am I judging this person? What's this really about? You'll often find that the answer has less to do with the other person and more to do with your own internal landscape. Another powerful tool is the body scan. Throughout your day, check in with yourself, especially when you feel judgment creeping in. Close your eyes for a moment and do a quick mental scan of your body. Start from your head and work your way down to your toes. Are you holding tension in your shoulders? Is your jaw clenched? Are your hands gripping tightly? Often physical tension is a sign of internal stress or discomfort, which can spill over into judgmental thoughts. By simply becoming aware of your body and consciously relaxing those tense areas, you create space to release both the physical and mental tension, shifting your mindset from judgment to acceptance. You can also incorporate small, mindful moments into your daily routine to keep judgment at bay. For example, try practicing non-judgment while scrolling through social media. Instead of instantly reacting to posts with thoughts like, "Why did they post that?" or "That's such a bad outfit," challenge yourself to simply observe. Notice your reactions without attaching judgment to them. This not only strengthens your mindfulness, but also helps you practice kindness in a digital space where judgment often thrives. Finally, try setting a daily intention around non-judgment. In the morning, take a moment to remind yourself to approach the day with curiosity and understanding, rather than criticism. As you go about your day, keep that intention in mind. When judgment arises, remind yourself of your commitment to being mindful and compassionate. When you practice mindfulness, you not only reduce your own judgmental thoughts, but you also change how others perceive and interact with you. As you become less judgmental, people will sense that you're more open, more understanding, and more approachable. You're no longer that person who silently, or not so silently, critiques every little thing. Instead, you become a safe space for others, where they can be themselves without fear of being judged. This shift in energy can transform your relationships. Whether it's with friends, family, or co-workers, people will naturally gravitate toward your non-judgmental presence. When others feel accepted, they are more likely to be vulnerable, open, and authentic around you. This creates deeper, more meaningful connections that are built on understanding rather than criticism. Here's the thing, there's a difference between holding yourself accountable and tearing yourself down. But it's a fine line, and many of us struggle to walk it. On one hand, self-improvement is essential for growth. We want to become better versions of ourselves, learn from our mistakes, and make positive changes. But on the other hand, self-judgment can be toxic and destructive, often leading to feelings of shame, guilt, or inadequacy. So, how do we distinguish between the two? The key lies in the intention behind your thoughts. When you're aiming for self-improvement, your focus is on growth, learning, and becoming the best version of yourself. It's about asking, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "How can I do better next time?" Self-judgment, on the other hand, comes from a place of criticism and harshness. It's those moments when you think, "I'll never be good enough," or "Why do I always mess this up?" It's not about growth. It's about tearing yourself down. So how can we shift from toxic self-judgment to healthy self-improvement? It all starts with awareness. The next time you catch yourself in a spiral of self-criticism, pause. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me grow, or is it holding me back? If the answer is the latter, it's time to reframe it. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm so bad at this, I'll never get it right," try asking yourself, "What small step can I take to improve?" This simple shift in perspective moves you from a place of shame and defeat to one of curiosity and action. Remember, self-improvement is about progress, not perfection. It's about learning from your experiences, not punishing yourself for them. Another way to transform self-judgment into motivation is by setting realistic, achievable goals. Often, self-judgment arises when we set the bar impossibly high and inevitably fall short. But when you set smaller, more manageable goals, every step forward feels like a win. You'll be less likely to judge yourself harshly because your progress, however incremental, will feel like a success. One of the most powerful tools to reduce self-judgment and foster self-improvement is positive self-talk. The way you speak to yourself matters a lot. If you constantly bombard yourself with negative, judgmental thoughts, you're going to stay stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage. But if you shift your inner dialogue to be more positive and encouraging, you'll be able to break free from that cycle and start building real, lasting confidence. Next time you catch yourself in a negative thought pattern, challenge it. For example, if you find yourself thinking, "I'll never be good at this," counter it with, "I'm still learning, and every time I try, I get a little better." Think of it this way: if you wouldn't say it to a friend, don't say it to yourself. So start treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you offer to the people you care about. Positive self-talk isn't about ignoring your flaws or mistakes. It's about framing them in a way that encourages growth rather than fostering shame. It's important to remember that self-improvement is a journey, not a destination. There will always be things you can work on, but that doesn't mean you need to judge yourself harshly along the way. A balanced approach to self-improvement acknowledges that mistakes are part of the process. They don't define your worth. They're simply opportunities to learn and grow. By embracing this mindset, you can maintain high standards for yourself without letting self-judgment drag you down. Focus on progress, celebrate the small victories, and remember that setbacks are just a natural part of the growth journey. Over time, you'll find that self-improvement becomes something you look forward to, rather than something you dread. When we approach people with an open mind and without judgment, we make space for real connection. People feel safer to express themselves authentically, and that fosters a stronger sense of belonging. Non-judgment builds trust, and trust is the foundation of any thriving community, whether it's your neighborhood, workplace, or even your online circles. Now let's talk about one of the biggest culprits of judgment: social media. It pushes us to compare, criticize, and project our own insecurities onto others. If you've ever been on the receiving end of someone's open-mindedness and compassion, you know how much it can impact your mood, your self-esteem, and even your own behaviors. By choosing to approach people without judgment, you're helping to create a more accepting and loving environment, whether it's at work, in your community, or online. It might seem small at first, but over time, these small acts of kindness and acceptance can create significant cultural shifts. A non-judgmental mindset doesn't just change your personal relationships, it can change the way entire groups of people interact with one another. By practicing and promoting non-judgment, you're contributing to a world where empathy, understanding, and human connection are the default. Non-judgment doesn't mean we accept harmful behaviors or injustice, but it does mean that we approach others with empathy and an open heart, recognizing that everyone's journey is unique. In a world filled with divisiveness, practicing non-judgment is a radical act. It challenges us to be better, to seek understanding rather than condemnation. Conclusion. So there you have it. Judging others is really just a reflection of how we see ourselves. But the good news is that by practicing self-acceptance, mindfulness, and non-judgment, we can create more meaningful connections with others and a greater sense of peace within ourselves. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about progress. Call to action: if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts on how practicing non-judgment has impacted your life, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Let's keep this conversation going. Together, we can create a more compassionate and understanding world.